So I now invite Her Grace Namrata Mataji, my dear friend, to introduce our dear Sita Mataji.
To welcome Her Grace Sita Devi Dasi Mataji, and her legal name, like all of you are very well aware of her and you all know her very personally because she really reciprocates with everyone so personally and so intimately. That's a very special quality of Sita Mataji. And yeah. So her legal name is Dr. Sandhya Subramaniam. So she's a BDS, she's in dental surgery, and she's also done MS in psychotherapy and counseling. So she's a qualified dentist, but she's very passionate about also working for the environment and youth and women. So she started the Bhakti Vedanta Hospital Youth Foundation, under which she conducted the AIDS awareness counseling program for youth based on culture and traditional value systems of India for a decade starting 2006. She initiated other projects such as anti-plastic campaigns and tree plantation drives, engaging youth from 50 schools and colleges in Mumbai. She also heads the Green Temple Committee of Radha Gopinath Temple. Spiritually, she's a sincere practitioner of Bhakti Yoga since the past 27 years. And I have been under her, she has been my counselor for more than 20 years. So I have been seeing her like this, and she's just the same, like we used to see her almost 20, 30 years back. And she's also a long-standing disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. She's also a spiritual counselor in Radha Gopinath congregation, and presently she heads the Women Empowerment and Skills Development Program for rural women at Radhanath Swami Maharaj's Govardhan Eco Village outside of Mumbai. This program assists local women with respect to various aspects such as spirituality, health, poverty, elevation, food security, and teaching them to make a livelihood through skills such as stitching, painting, handicrafts, and fruit production. You all had seen the video regarding that, right? As a trained dentist, she gives free treatment and awareness talks in the villages about general health and hygiene. She keeps conducting workshops and seminars on teaching principles of bhakti, Sanskrit shlokas, and Vaishnava bhajans. So you all will also get the taste of her Vaishnava bhajans soon. She also gives personal spiritual counseling sessions. She's a great Kirtaniya singer and also trained in classical Indian dance, which she learned after the age of 40. When we all think, is the age where we can't learn new things, she actually started getting trained for Kathak dance. So she has represented ISKCON and spoken in prestigious universities in New York, such as Colin Powell College of Global Leadership, and most popular yoga events in California, Bhakti Fest and Shakti Fest every year. And as we all know, and Karuna Radhika Mataji had also told that how the idea of Sakhi Sanga came in. So it was Mataji and Karuna Radhika Mataji's idea that they actually got all of us together. So if this Sakhi Sanga Fest is happening, it is because of Her Grace Sita Mataji and Karuna Radhika Mataji. So thank you so much for coming to Hyderabad. I think we all Hyderabad devotees are very, very fortunate. So 3 loud Hari Bols for Sita Mataji. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So I want to welcome all of you to this beautiful festival, Sakhi Sanga Fest. And the theme of this event, when we all met, we thought of, women in bhakti and women empowerment, that to be that as the theme of this year's festival. And I'm so grateful to Sakhi Sanga Fest and the whole team here that we are highlighting a topic such as women empowerment, which is something some people, think that why do women need to be empowered? They just need to be, in the kitchen, or they should just be with the children. Why should they be empowered? Because the word empowered sometimes makes people feel very, threatened. But personally, I have the realization that if whatever we are doing today, I'm talking about my personal experience. If I am here today, in whatever way, in the association of devotees, whatever little service I am doing, it's only because of my spiritual master, our Guru Maharaj. Each one has their own inspirational guru who has shown them the path. And in my case, I was given that empowerment. I was given that help when I needed it the most. And that was His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. I met him when I was in my dental school, in my final year. And the first thing that he empowered me with, and he gave me this instruction, that, your mind is something which is your enemy or your best friend. But it depends on you how you want to use it. So he gave me a way of life, and he told me that if you use your mind in helping others or empowering others, then your mind will become your best friend. That's how he inspired me and empowered me. So I feel that women empowerment is so much needed in our movement today. So I am part of Govardhan Eco Village. It's a project in Mumbai, and it has been started by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and with the aim of teaching to the world how we can serve Mother Nature and live in harmony with Mother Nature, and how we can lead a very sustainable life. And the United Nations also has accepted that one of the sustainable development goals, they have made women empowerment as one of the goals. So for a holistic development of any society, we have to focus on the women. So personally, my experience in the villages is that, as you must have heard this statement, you require a whole village to raise a child, right? It's not one person can, raise a child, because it's the influence of so many women coming together. The whole village can inspire a child to develop so nicely. So in the village, I have seen that the women, though they are so poor, but they are always united together, and they always come together, like even in the fields, they work together. So that is real sustainability, So women empowerment is recognized now as most important to develop a society. So we really need to think, even among devotees, how we can empower women and how we can empower each other so that we can become more productive in our life. So what is not real women empowerment? That's what we should understand. Why is there so much, sometimes a resistance from people, or maybe from men, when they say that, women empowerment it might make the women go, become too independent or something like that. So, truly Srila Prabhupada said that in the modern society, we see women's liberation. Next slide. What is not real women empowerment? So, we are discussing about what is not natural for us. So Prabhupada always said that the women's liberation movement in the modern times is actually encouraging the women to think that, that any kind of lifestyle that they lead, which is, not following the proper culture or the traditions, is something which is okay or it's acceptable, or they think that if the men can smoke, why can't we? If the men can drink, why can't we? So if the men can have affairs, why can't we? This is the mentality that the modern society under the women's liberation movement, that is something which we don't want to promote. Because that is not our culture. That is not our Vedic culture. I mean, in our Vedic culture and our tradition, we have always seen that women are not competitors. We are not competition with the men. We are actually complementary. Like together, we are supposed to move forward and help each other to make spiritual advancement. So this is the first thing which we need to understand, what is not women empowerment. Because in the name of empowerment, sometimes women think that, they can behave any way they like. So this is something which we don't want to promote. So the power of a woman, like from time immemorial, women is also known as Shakti or energy, power. Next slide. So women are same as, it's compared to an atomic energy. Like there is so much energy in a bomb, Like, and you have all seen what a destructive effect a bomb can have, right? It can completely destroy everything. So a woman has so much power in her that she can make or she can break. You must have heard this famous line. स्त्री जो है वो घर बना भी सकती है और तोड़ भी सकती है. She can break the house. So many times we hear stories, and all these serials in the TV is all revolving around how women are always doing some kind of sajish to break, So this is what the soap operas or the serials, they all talk about. So the negative effect of that energy, can be so serious. So there is a very famous saying, hell hath no fury as a woman scorned. If a woman is, जैसे पंगा ले बोलते हैं ना, अगर औरतों से पंगा लिया तो कुछ भी हो सकता है, क्योंकि जब तक they are controlled, they are fine. But if they, if they are triggered, they can create a lot of havoc. So, but how to channelize this power that we all have, Women, next slide, women as Shakti, power. How we can channelize this energy, So, that is what we have to learn, from our Vedic culture and our Vaishnava culture, that how we can use this energy that we have in the right direction. Just like from morning we are hearing such amazing talks by Janava Mataji, and she spoke about the power of bhakti, and Mataji, Radha Mataji, about empowerment that Srila Prabhupada has given to the senior disciples, his senior disciples. From their example, we can really get so much inspiration how we can come together and imagine, if each one of us is like an atomic bomb, if all of us come together, what kind of a dhamaka we can create, I think that's what is happening today, which we can see all of us together here. So, Vedic scriptures has always given so much importance to goddesses. We worship women goddesses. Next slide. We address women goddesses, starting from our most dearmost Radharani. She is like the epitome of the supreme goddess, and all other goddesses are just emanating from her. And she is the one who's actually inspiring bhakti in everyone's heart. She is the giver of bhakti. So that is the culture from what we are coming from, the Vedic times. Some people have this understanding that women in Vedic culture are so downtrodden, they are so abla nari, as they say. That's the impression that people have, that women are helpless and they are always to be, they are always exploited. That's the impression that people have all over the world about India. But truly, if you study the Vedic culture, women were always given so much more importance than the men. According to the Vedic teachings, ancient in the Aryan scriptures, next slide, women have been placed at a higher status than man. She has been given preference to man in every field. Just like, we don't, it's the culture here. We always take the name of the goddess first. Radha Krishna or Sita Ram. And even our country, India, our motherland, is worshipped as Matra, as mother. So this is what is Vedic culture. In fact, it's the other way around in the Western culture, the so-called British civilization, the British who actually made us, think that in your culture, women are always disrespected or never given equal. They created this narrative. But actually, you can see that even in Europe and in America, the women were not even, till even 500 years back, women were not even allowed to vote. They were, in fact, there was a whole movement against women. Some of the women were hunted as witches and they were burnt on the stakes. That is so barbaric, actually. We can see so many, the mentality of the Western civilization, where the women were not even given an equal status to vote. So actually, if you study the Vedic scriptures, everywhere you will see that the women have always been given so much importance and they have always been worshipped. Next slide. So respect to women was paramount in Vedic culture. In fact, the exploitation of women is actually a modern concept which the British, colonialism, they created that narrative. But the true symbol of a culture of a nation is judged according to how its culture is based on respect of the women. So that's how a civilization is, judged. So definitely the Vedic civilization is a very, very evolved civilization. So next slide. Lord Manu forcefully states that wherever women, Narya, are adored and regarded, that is pujyante, I believe there resides godly people. Ramante tatra devataha. And where they are not regarded or are neglected, all efforts, kriya of men will be afala, means will bear no fruit. So this is a very, very powerful statement, that wherever women are exploited, the family will suffer. There will be no economic, prosperity in that family. And that the men in that family, whatever efforts they put, there will be no success. That's why in our culture, Vedic culture, women are known as Lakshmi. Why is a woman known as given respect as Lakshmi? Because if you take care of her needs, if you take care of her emotional needs, and if you love and respect her, then automatically Lakshmi will come into your family. You don't have to, and whatever efforts you put, for earning wealth will all be successful. That is what our culture says. That's why we have a culture during Dashera. Now we will be having this puja, and it's called as Kanya Puja. Right? Everybody in Hyderabad, we call all the young girls home and we feed them, they wash their feet and, give them so much and then give them gifts. So they all become happy. So that's how we can get, good Sukruti. So next slide, we see that women, even in India, have always been, very, very, you can say that even though so-called due to modern this, we have not got so many opportunities, but now we see that more and more women are excelling in themselves in every field. They have excelled in various fields such as business, sports, science, arts, and even warfare. Thank you. I'm sweating a lot. So warfare is something, the Vedic times, the women were actually trained in warfare. As in the morning we were talking about Ramayana, that that story where Kaikeyi actually got the boons from Dashrath Maharaj. Why? Because she saved him during the war. He was supposed to be killed and she protected him in the middle of the battlefield. Now imagine that if a woman can save a man, how skilled she must be in warfare. And in more modern times, we have example of Jhansi Ki Rani also, where she tied a child, her own baby, around her back, and she fought with the Britishers till the very end, till the end of her life. So that's how, thank you. So that's how empowered the women were in Vedic times. So these are the women of substance that we see even in modern times. So Mary Kom, she excelled in a field which is totally male dominated, right? In India, men like to think that they are very, very strong, so they are always showing off the strength. But Mary Kom has proven herself in the field which men have, always. So we have all these examples. In the field of business, Indra Nooyi, she is known as one of the most powerful CEOs of Pepsi company. And of course, Mother Teresa, in the field of, spiritual and philanthropic service. So now we will talk about Vedic women who are so empowered that we can learn so much from their example. So as devotee women, I really feel that we should not buy into that that understanding that we are weak. Because as Mataji was speaking about Srila Prabhupada's, he has always encouraged us to serve Krishna equally, with men. So the Vedic women are held in high regard because they are naturally devotional. It's a quality which comes naturally, So once there's a very funny example of Maharaj telling that in a big Mahatsatsang program, on the same day as India-Pakistan cricket match, the men's side was fully empty and the women's side was full, like all the women had come for the satsang and all the men were sitting at home and watching the India-Pakistan war, So it's very natural for women to, be devotional and they like to get together and hear about Krishna consciousness. And why is that? Because their heart and mind are naturally gentle and devotional and they are easily able to surrender to Krishna. And the most famous example is of Draupadi. Draupadi is a real example which she inspires me, as an empowered woman. And because she is the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. And it is said that Draupadi was so empowered that she was given the opportunity to choose her own husband. Not only that, but she could actually reject Karna. During the Swayamvar, Karna came and said that I want to, so marry Draupadi. And she immediately raised her voice that I don't want to get married to this man. So she had that assertiveness to even state her choice. And it is said that Krishna, Lord Krishna himself, developed his friendship with Pandavas, and the Pandavas were connected to him also through Draupadi actually. Because Draupadi was the connecting link, because he was the closest to Draupadi. And Draupadi was his greatest devotee. And Krishna helped. If you notice that every time Krishna came to help the Pandavas, it's always when Draupadi was in distress. Many times if you study, he always came when Draupadi was in any kind of distress. And she would just call out to Krishna and he would come rushing. Especially that pastime of Durvasa Muni when he came after she had finished eating and the Akshay Patra was washed and cleaned. And that's when he came, because Duryodhan wanted to somehow, instigate him to curse. And she just remembered Krishna, and the next moment Krishna was there at her doorstep. And he took a small grain from that Akshay Patra, and Durvasa Muni and all his 60,000 disciples were so satisfied that they started burping and they had to leave. So he protected Draupadi at that time, and also when she was in the worst kind of situation, when she was being disrobed in the assembly. So Draupadi is such an empowered person that Krishna himself wanted her to instruct his wives on how to be a good wife. So in Mahabharata, there is a time when Draupadi spent a whole day answering all the questions of Krishna's wives. How to take care of, how to be a good wife. So Draupadi's husband survived in the war. Achha, this point is very important. That Krishna was so upset that she was humiliated in that way, that she was molested that every person who was in that assembly actually was destroyed. All the Kauravas, every person who was in that assembly died, except the Pandavas. And that too only because they were Draupadi's husband. And we can see that her quality of compassion, that when her 5 sons were killed by Ashwatthama, she was the only one who stood up and said that we have to forgive Ashwatthama and his... why? Because his mother will feel the same kind of grief that she is facing now. So she's had that love and affection in her heart and so much compassion that she forgave. So we have examples of Devahuti, which I will not go in detail, but she also showed she had the freedom to choose her own husband based on their own temperament and her goals. And what was her goal of life, Devahuti? Her only goal of life was spiritual life. She just wanted to practice spiritual life. And that's how she chose her husband, according to that desire. And Arundhati is one more Vedic woman. She's supposed to be the most knowledgeable. And all of you must have seen during the marriage, we all have to see the Arundhati Nakshatra, She's so celebrated that Arundhati and Vashishta, they were the ideal householders. And in every respect, they were serving each other, complimenting each other. And she was so blessed with such a wonderful personality, serene composure, and she was always respected and worshipped by everyone on par with her husband because of her knowledge, because of her spiritual, steadiness. And the Mahabharata describes her as an ascetic, meaning a very, very advanced spiritual soul. And she was so advanced that when she would speak and give discourses, all the sages would listen to her. And so also we have in Srimad Bhagavatam the example of Kunti Maharani, next slide, where Kunti Maharani's prayers in the first canto are so glorified, and every Rishi, Muni, every Acharya in all the Sampradayas have been studying these verses which Kunti Maharani has narrated and recited. So the knowledge that the Vedic women had was so much that they were always respected and revered by everyone. So Gargi is also a renowned philosopher. She was again a very, very realized soul. And at her time, when Gargi was there, she was there at the time of Janak Maharaj. And Janak Maharaj had kept a debate in his kingdom, and he invited all the scholars of that time. And Valkya was a very famous scholar, and he was challenging everyone and he was defeating everyone in debate. And that's the time when everyone was defeated, he started challenging. Now, who is there to sit and, dare to sit with me and debate? And that's when Gargi stood up and she actually debated with him. And though she did not win the debate, but she stood up to him, at least. So she had that confidence. That was because of her deep knowledge of philosophy. So even in our recent times, in our Vaishnava tradition, Janva Mataji, the wife of Nityanand Mahaprabhu, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and Nityanand Mahaprabhu left the movement, they have left the world, it was Janva Mataji who actually gave shelter to all the devotees. She is the one who took care of all the devotees and she was guiding everyone. She was like the spiritual guide. Next slide. So we have examples in our Maharashtra of Jijabai. She was such an empowered woman that she could inspire her son, Shivaji Maharaj, to, empower himself to fight against the British. So there is a very famous saying, how Mataji was talking in her talk about motherhood, how being a mother is it is so important, and it's such an important position because you can actually shape the child's, life. You can inspire him to do great things. And we can see that in the example of Jijabai. She inspired Shivaji. So there is a very famous saying, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. So that's the importance of motherhood. So what is true women empowerment? Next slide. So empowered women can empower other women. So with all these Vedic examples that we just heard, we can see that how they had such an impact on the society. They had such an impact on, others. So only an empowered woman can empower other women. Vedic women were empowered due to their deep spiritual qualities. And what are those qualities? The most empowering qualities in women are chastity, sacrifice, and devotion. So we see these three qualities in every woman. It is naturally there. So we have to just develop these qualities, because these qualities will actually empower us. Sacrifice, chastity, and devotion. So we talked about the quality of sacrifice. So we have the example of Gandhari, how she gave up her freedom to even see. She put a blindfold on her eyes just to support her husband, or just to, give confidence to her husband. This is a very extreme example, but you can make out from that because of that sacrifice, how much power she got. She was so empowered. It was that when Lord Krishna wanted to, give that extra strength to Bhima, to win the war against the Kauravas, he just told that when Gandhari removes her blindfold, so that's how she had that much power. So that's how we can see that by the power of chastity, she got that power. That she can empower any man to become like strong like 10,000 elephants. That's what the pastime was, that Krishna wanted Bhima to get that strength. And I think the pastime goes like this, that Duryodhan, her own son, was also going to meet Gandhari when she was going to open the blindfold, and Krishna met him on the way, and he tricked him into saying that how can you go before your own mother naked? So you must at least cover your, in the middle and go. And that's how, when she opened her blindfold, Bhima was completely, his whole body became like Vajra, like had the inner, like iron. And Duryodhan, his whole other parts became very strong, but this was the weak part. That's why at the time, at the end of his life, in that match, he lost and he died because of a broken hip, So we can see this is the power of sacrifice. And chastity, we have so many examples, but Sita Devi is one of the Vedic examples for chastity. And the power is such that Ravana, he was so afraid to even touch Sita, because there was a curse that his head would burst into 1,000 pieces if he just even touches Sita without her permission. So that was the power of chastity. And the modern day example is of Maharani Padmini. You must have heard of this famous queen. You saw the movie Padmavati, where she was so beautiful that this Mughal king was wanting to, enjoy her beauty. But she was so chaste that she chose to, jump into fire and kill herself rather than becoming a victim to his lust. And the third most important quality is of devotion. And the example is Kunti Maharani and many other examples where we see that devotion is something which is connects us to Krishna and which comes naturally in our heart. Like for women, it's easy to because we don't have such an inflated ego, and we love to serve anyways. So devotion is a quality which can really empower us, because we can really create such an impact by that. So quality of an empowered woman, what is the qualities? That a person who can remain calm in the face of fear and opposition. That even if, we are not given the opportunities that we all have experienced sometimes in the movement, we really want to do or contribute so much, but we are not given that opportunity or we are not given that encouragement. But still, even if we are not given that encouragement, we have to remain steady and keep our goals fixed. And when we keep our goals fixed, then whatever you decide in life, whatever service you want to do or whatever goals you want to achieve, you will be able to achieve. If we remain, calm, even in the face of fear and opposition. And for that, the second point is we have to have complete trust in ourselves. So this is one of the qualities which, like for empowered women, we need to first trust ourselves. In whatever plans or whatever goals or whatever desires we have, unless we have trust in ourselves, we will not be able to really put all our plans in action. Because there may be so many people who are pulling you down or saying the opposite or discouraging you, but we have to keep, being steady and have the trust in ourselves. Like for example, Sita Devi had total faith on herself and Lord Ram of rescuing her. So much that even when Hanuman came to rescue her, she said, I will wait for Ram, as she had only faith in him, that he will come and save me. So she didn't get, carried away by that. And last, we have to show courage. We have to be courageous to accept any negative situation which may come in our life. So Sita was sent to the forest and abandoned by Lord Ram when she was pregnant. Now, if you see such a situation, people in the outside world see this, that how sad, that she was abandoned by Lord Ram. But she herself never felt like this. She herself understood Lord Ram very clearly, and she didn't get lost in self-pity. She didn't think that, oh no, I have been exploited, I have been rejected, I have been abandoned. That was not her. She fought even in that situation. She faced it with lot of courage, and she understood her own responsibility as a woman and as a mother, and she took that decision to be a mother and face the negative situation with a positive attitude. So this is the quality of an empowered woman. And last but not the least, we have to forgive and forget. Because in the course of our life, when we want to do something, any kind of service, we will always face oppositions, we will always face challenges, and we will always, have some people who maybe hurt us or, belittle us or, maybe even humiliate us sometimes. But we have to always forgive and forget and not hold any grudges, because that is the empowering quality of a woman, that we have to learn how to move forward in life. Because holding on to negative emotions is only going to create negativity in our heart. So, femininity versus feminism. So, one of the points that Mataji had spoken in her topic was that women being natural in their nature, in the being like women are naturally nurturing, naturally loving. That is our feminine nature. Women and men in Vedic times knew that they both have different natures. They are neither superior nor inferior. So women always acted according to their feminine nature. So there was no question of competition. So femininity versus feminism, the word feminism is because the women are not being in their feminine nature, and rather they are becoming more aggressive. They are becoming more aggressive because they are trying to compete with men. But that is not the Vedic understanding. The Vedic understanding is that women and men are different from each other, and women, if they remain in their feminine nature, they will also be happy and they will be able to make others, their family and everyone around also happy. Because I have met so many women who, in the name of feminism, choose a lifestyle which is not according to their feminine nature. They are always, sad and dissatisfied. So Vedic understanding is that women need to understand their role according to their innate feminine nature. So that is what is the point. And there is a very funny understanding or a statement. In fact, there's a book that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Like they are two different planets. Now, when we are from two different planets, how can we expect, that, we are different from each other. So we have to accept the strengths and the weaknesses of both the sexes. Anyways, this is just a funny statistics just to understand. They say that men are more intelligent, but we know better, right? So, but we know better. Men are more intelligent than women by about 5 IQ points. That's what they say. That they are very logical and reasoning, and we are like too emotional, But actually the statistics shows that men are approximately 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women. Yeah. So why? Because women are more capable of taking emotional and mental stress. So we may not be logical and reasoning like them, but we have more ability to face stress, whereas men don't have. That's why we see you know, when a woman dies, the man cannot manage. But when a man dies, when the husband dies, the wife can still manage. So, so I would like to conclude by saying that by these 3 qualities of sacrifice, chastity, and devotion, we can empower ourselves as devotee women. We have been blessed that we have this beautiful association of devotees. And what should we take from them, from this Sangha, is that we inspire each other by imbibing these qualities which will empower us. And when we get empowered, we can empower other women who are maybe less privileged than us, or they are underprivileged, they don't have any facilities. We can at least give them that gift of bhakti. So we have to understand the spiritual potential that each one of us has within ourselves. Rediscover our real potential, just like this picture of the caterpillar. When you see the caterpillar, the first time it's all covered in this cocoon and it's not able to even move. And you can see it's restricted. But there is a story of a child who saw this struggle of this caterpillar inside the cocoon, and he cut the cocoon. It actually, the caterpillar couldn't transform itself into the beautiful butterfly. Why? Because actually the struggle that we go through, just like that caterpillar, the struggles and the challenges and the difficulties that we face in life is what makes us what we are today. So we have to, as devotee women, we have to understand that whatever, even if we get, as they say, our life is bitter like lemons, even if our life gives us lemons, we should take those lemons and make a nice lemon juice and drink it. We make use of the negative situations of our life and make it positive. Why? Because the most positive thing in our life is the association of these Vaishnavis. As Mataji said, the only thing that we need in Krishna consciousness to make progress is a good Vaishnavi Sangha. Having husband, family, and our whole life goes into just taking care of them, and we ignore our needs. And our needs are something which we really need to focus on. And when we connect with other devotee Matajis in this kind of sanghas and forums, we will see that we are able to give that happiness to each other. And we are so grateful to Srila Prabhupada that he has given us this gift of bhakti. So I want to thank all of you that next slide, we can realize our spiritual potential by coming together, and as the Sakhi Sanga theme song goes, let's all chant together, Sakhi Sanga, let's all dance together and make spiritual progress so that we can serve Krishna all together in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for such a wonderful topic. We thought we know, about women empowerment, but with the clarity you told us, it really gives us all a great vision about what real empowerment is and what real empowerment is not. I think there is a lot of confusion about it because people feel they're inferior when they need to be empowered. So Mataji made it very clear that that's not the case. Thank you. We have Mataji, one sec. I would like to request Aradhita Mataji, Her Grace Aradhita Mataji, to give a small token of gratitude for Sita Mataji. we have 5 minutes before we have someone joining in from US, which is going to be a little of a surprise. But we have 5 minutes for any question and answers. Exactly at 4, we will close this and open the Zoom session. So, time for a couple questions from anyone? Anybody? Questions can be, we have Radha Mataji also and Sita Mataji. Any questions? 5 minutes.
I would like to know from Radha Mataji, Sita Mataji and other Mataji. We know you will be doing a count of chant more than us. But we would like to understand as a woman, how can we improve in increasing our chant count on day basis? Maybe a kind of...
I don't think I understood the question. The chant count? How do we chant our rounds every day? Oh, okay. You chant them every day. That's how you do it. Sometimes so many things seem important. You know, we have so many responsibilities. Haribol, Hare Krishna. Haribol. You have to prioritize your own spiritual life. You know, just like you have to eat so you can take care of everyone else, you have to chant your rounds so you can take care of others. Because if you don't chant your rounds, you can't become Krishna. I wish my husband could chant my rounds for me, right? You know, but no one can do that for us. We have to do it for ourselves. So, yeah. And it's not a waste of time. It's not taking away from our duties. It's actually a service that we're doing for our families.